When we picture a farm, we usually imagine something fixed in place. We picture rigid, permanent lines carved into the earth by heavy machinery, staying in the exact same spot year after year. But does growing food actually require those strict, unchanging boundaries? Imagine instead a farm that travels, a living plot of land that moves and shifts its location within a dense, wild forest over time. This is a practice known as shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation is a farming method where people temporarily clear a patch of land, grow crops, and then let the wild forest take it back over. Indigenous and forest communities across the globe have used this system for centuries. This system functions on an alternative ecological logic. It prioritizes geographical movement and the forest's natural ability to recover over the maintenance of permanent boundaries. The cycle begins with a precise cut. Farmers select a small, specific patch of the forest, usually on a hillside, and carefully slash the existing plants and trees. Once that cut vegetation dries out, it is intentionally set on fire. This controlled burn clears the physical space for planting. This animated diagram shows how the soil responds. The ash left behind by the fire acts as a powerful natural fertilizer. As the rains arrive, that ash dissolves into the dirt, rapidly enriching the forest soil with essential nutrients. Right before the monsoon rains hit, the farmers scatter a diverse mixture of seeds directly into this freshly enriched ash-covered ground. Soon after, a vibrant mix of crops pushes up through the soil. They will harvest this specific plot for a couple of years, but eventually the soil's fertility naturally drops. Instead of forcing the land to keep producing, the community leaves that plot alone and moves to a new area of the forest to start again. The entire system relies on geographical mobility and the slow passage of time. By moving on, they allow the old plot to naturally regenerate back into a dense forest over 12 to 18 years. In India, the survival of many tribal, or Adivasi, communities depended entirely on this cyclical method. Adivasi is a term referring to the indigenous or tribal populations of mainland India. They knew this practice by many local names. Depending on the region, it was called Jum, Podu, Bewar, or Penda. The forest provided a complete economic ecosystem. Beyond the crops they grew, these communities relied on the surrounding woods for herbs to make medicines, wood to build their homes, and fruits and roots to eat during the long monsoon months. Shifting cultivation was the central organizing principle of their society. It shaped a deep, symbiotic relationship with the earth. But this delicate balance was broken by the arrival of British colonial officials. They brought with them a rigid set of rules for how land should be used. The colonial government viewed the forests as factories for timber. They needed massive quantities of tall, straight hardwood to build the expanding railway network across the subcontinent. To European foresters, the traditional use of fire appeared reckless and chaotic, a direct threat to the timber yields they were ordered to protect. To protect their supply of wood, the colonial government enacted severe forest laws. They effectively banned shifting cultivation and criminalized the everyday practices of the forest dwellers. The human cost was devastating. Countless families were forcibly displaced from their ancestral homes, pushed into harsh wage labor in factories and plantations, or restricted to small, settled farming plots. In an attempt to protect the forest from its own inhabitants, colonial policies dismantled an ancient ecological cycle and the communities it sustained. It leaves us with a difficult question to consider. Did the colonial rulers genuinely misunderstand this traditional ecological knowledge, or did they simply choose to erase whatever stood in the way of resource extraction?